There is a truth many women need to understand. Relationships are meant to add value to your life, not take away from it. Love is not supposed to strip you of who you are, derail your purpose, or drain your peace. A relationship is not meant to define you. It is meant to complement the woman you already are. The first thing you must never do is lose yourself in the presence of any man. A man is not meant to determine your identity or become the center of your existence. You must hold on to your individuality, your dreams, your voice, and your personal journey. Only when you stand firm in who you are can you bring true strength, depth, and authenticity into a relationship. In a relationship, it is easy to get caught up in the dynamics of love and connection. Women often pour so much of their energy into their partner, adjusting, accommodating, compromising, and even changing fundamental parts of themselves just to keep the relationship going or to please the other person. While effort and compromise are necessary in any relationship, they should never cost you your sense of self. Your dreams, ambitions, values, and beliefs are the core of who you are. When you allow them to be overshadowed, suppressed, or forgotten because of someone else, you risk losing the very essence of yourself. A healthy relationship should empower you, not erase you. When you begin to lose yourself, you may start to feel disconnected, confused, or even resentful. You might find that you are living for someone else's desires, priorities, and expectations while neglecting your own. Your happiness becomes dependent on their approval, their presence, or their mood. This is dangerous because you cannot control another person's actions or feelings, and anchoring your identity to them places your emotional stability on shifting ground. It is essential that you stay grounded in your own purpose, nurturing your personal growth, your self-care, and your inner life. A strong woman maintains her individuality, understanding that her value is not based on whether she is in a relationship or not. She continues to pursue her goals, her passions, and her vision with or without a partner. When you remain true to yourself, you bring authenticity and depth into your relationship. Your partner sees and experiences the real you, not a diluted version shaped solely for their comfort. Instead of being drained by constant sacrifice, you become a source of inspiration. Your strength, independence, and self-respect command respect in return. You are not incomplete without someone by your side. You are already whole. A healthy partnership is meant to add to your life, not replace or diminish who you are. Relationships should be built on mutual respect, understanding, and support, where both individuals are able to thrive both independently and together. Never let anyone convince you that you need to change or betray your true self in order to be loved. The best relationships are those in which both people bring their full, authentic selves, growing together without losing who they are individually. Another truth you must hold on to is this: never settle for less than you deserve. You are a woman of worth, and accepting anything less than respect, genuine love, and equality diminishes that worth. Settling often happens quietly, almost unnoticed. It creeps in through fear, insecurity, or the pressure to avoid being alone. You may start to tolerate behavior you once said you never would, accept treatment that makes you uncomfortable, or lower your standards bit by bit, all in the name of keeping the relationship or not wanting to start over. But when you settle for less than you deserve, you are sending a message to the world and to yourself that you are not worthy of more, and that is a lie. Over time, settling erodes your self-worth. You may begin to feel dissatisfied, unappreciated, or trapped, yet unsure how you got there. Deep down, you know that the love you are receiving does not match the love you are giving. The truth is, you deserve a love that uplifts you, respect that affirms your value, and a partnership that nurtures your growth. If a relationship does not offer these foundational elements, you are allowing yourself to accept far less than what you need to truly thrive. Your happiness and your dignity should never be sacrificed just to avoid being alone. Being alone while you wait for what aligns with your worth is far healthier than staying with someone who cannot or will not honor you. When you settle for less, you lower your standards, and in doing so, you begin to attract more of the same. You become entangled in cycles of relationships that do not fulfill you, do not respect you, and do not support your evolution. True love will never ask you to betray your core beliefs, your values, or your sense of self. A healthy relationship is one where both partners elevate each other, where each person is encouraged to become their best self. You deserve a love that values your mind, your heart, and your soul, one that pushes you to grow and reach your full potential rather than holding you back. Never let fear trick you into accepting mediocrity in your relationships. Fear of loneliness is not a good enough reason to stay where you are not cherished. Have the courage to wait for the person who understands your value and treats you accordingly. When you choose not to settle, you are declaring to yourself and to the world that you know your worth and you will not bargain with it. You are worthy of a love that honors your dignity, cherishes your presence, and matches the depth of what you are willing to give. Another boundary you must protect fiercely is your emotional world. Never let a man control your emotions. Your emotional stability should never be at the mercy of another person. Your heart is your responsibility, and no one else can protect it as fiercely and faithfully as you can. Your emotions are a reflection of your inner world, and only you should have authority over how you feel and how you respond. It is easy to fall into the trap of letting another person dictate your emotional state, especially when you love deeply. But giving someone that level of power over you is dangerous. When you allow someone else to control your emotions, you hand over your personal power. You place your happiness, your peace, and your mental well-being into their hands. If they are kind and attentive, you feel good. If they are distant or hurtful, you crumble. This creates an emotional roller coaster that leaves you drained and unstable. A healthy relationship is not one that constantly pulls you between extremes of joy and despair. Instead, it should encourage emotional stability, mutual understanding, and growth. It is natural to experience a wide range of emotions: joy, anger, sadness, frustration. But no one should be able to manipulate your feelings to keep you off balance or to maintain control over you. When you permit someone to make you feel worthless, insecure, or constantly upset, you are allowing them to dictate your emotional state. This creates a cycle of emotional dependence in which you rely on their behavior to feel okay. Breaking that cycle begins with recognizing that your emotional responses are ultimately your choice. You may not control what others do, but you always control how you respond. When someone disrespects you, tries to manipulate you, or makes you feel small, you can choose how much of their actions you allow to enter your inner world. You can choose peace, you can choose calm, you can choose to set boundaries, walk away, refuse to internalize their behavior as a reflection of your worth. It takes strength and emotional maturity not to let another person's behavior define your mood, your self-image, or your day. You are responsible for your feelings, and that responsibility is not a burden, it is power. When you take full ownership of your emotional responses, you can move through relationships with clarity and resilience. You are able to communicate more effectively because you are not speaking from a place of constant emotional chaos. You are no longer at the mercy of someone else's moods, manipulation, or inconsistency, because you have decided that your emotional well-being is non-negotiable. When you refuse to let anyone control your emotions, you take your power back. You learn how to set healthy boundaries and how to assert your needs without being swept away by emotional highs and lows. Your emotional peace becomes a deliberate choice, not something you are constantly fighting for. The more you practice this, the more you will see that no one can dictate how you feel unless you hand them that power. You are the keeper of your emotions, and with that self-awareness comes freedom, strength, and true emotional stability. Another trap that many women fall into is putting their lives on hold for the sake of a relationship. Too often, women are taught, overtly or subtly, that love is the ultimate achievement and everything else should take a back seat. This mindset is dangerous because it encourages you to prioritize someone else's dreams, needs, and desires above your own. When you stop pursuing your passions, your goals, and your purpose in life just to maintain a relationship or keep someone comfortable, you lose vital parts of yourself. There is a harmful illusion that if you revolve your entire life around a man, catering to him, centering him, sacrificing your own priorities, then in return you will receive the love, security, and validation you crave. But this is not how true love works. Your life is yours first. Love is meant to enhance your journey, not replace it. Your dreams, your ambitions, and your unique purpose must remain central, even when you are in a committed relationship. When you abandon your own path to walk someone else's, you are not being selfless. You are slowly disappearing. When you stop pursuing your calling, you not only stunt your personal development, you also quietly sow seeds of dissatisfaction and resentment. One day you may wake up feeling lost, unfulfilled, or unsure of who you are outside the relationship. You may look at your life and wonder what happened to the dreams you once held so dearly. It is crucial to remember that you were a whole, complete person before any relationship, and you remain whole whether you are partnered or not. No one else is responsible for your happiness, your growth, or the fulfillment of your potential. The right partner will not demand that you shrink your life to fit inside theirs. They will encourage you to pursue your dreams, support your goals, and walk beside you as you both grow, individually and together. Being in a relationship does not mean abandoning your personal evolution. In fact, the healthiest relationships are those in which both individuals continue to develop, learn, and strive toward what matters most to them. Your dreams should never permanently move to the back seat in order to keep someone comfortable, no matter how important the relationship may seem. It is not selfish to take time for yourself, to focus on your goals, to protect your vision, or to say no when something pulls you away from your purpose. A relationship should be one meaningful part of your life, not the entire definition of it. When you stay true to who you are and what you are called to do, you invite a deeper, more authentic connection into your relationship. You show up as a fulfilled, grounded, and purpose-driven woman, and that is the kind of presence that enriches any partnership. When both partners are allowed and encouraged to thrive as individuals, the relationship itself becomes stronger, richer, and more resilient. Just as you must guard your dreams and your time, you must fiercely guard your dignity. Disrespect is one of the most damaging forces that can exist in a relationship. It chips away at your sense of worth, undermines your confidence, and creates an environment where your feelings and needs are dismissed or belittled. When you tolerate disrespect in any form, you are allowing someone to treat you in ways that violate your boundaries and diminish your value. Respect is the foundation of every truly healthy relationship. Without it, the connection is built on shaky, unstable ground, no matter how strong the physical attraction or emotional attachment may feel. You deserve to be treated with kindness, consideration, and honor. Disrespect can show up in many forms: harsh words, sarcasm, name-calling, dismissive behavior, neglect, dishonesty, or subtle actions that make you feel small and unimportant. One of the most dangerous aspects of disrespect is that it often starts small. It might be a joke at your expense, a comment that cuts a little too deep, a lie brushed off as no big deal, or a pattern of ignoring your feelings. When you allow those early signs of disrespect to go unchallenged, they rarely fade away. Instead, they grow. What starts as an offhand comment can become a regular pattern of criticism. What looks like a small lie can lead to consistent deception. Little by little, your sense of self is worn down, and you begin to feel as though you have to accept this treatment in order to keep the relationship. When you tolerate disrespect, you are essentially telling the other person that their behavior is acceptable, even when it hurts you. This only emboldens them to continue. Enduring disrespect is not a sign of loyalty or strength. It is a sign that your boundaries need reinforcement. You are not meant to carry the weight of someone else's immaturity, cruelty, or lack of regard. Standing firm in your boundaries means being willing to walk away from situations and relationships where you are not being honored. This does not require you to be harsh or unkind, but it does require you to be clear and unwavering about what you will and will not accept. Protecting your peace and your dignity is not selfish, it is necessary. Your value does not depend on how someone else chooses to treat you. If a person truly loves and values you, that love will be reflected in consistent respect. If they cannot treat you with the basic dignity you deserve, then it is time to reassess the relationship, no matter how much history or attachment exists. You are worthy of love that uplifts you, sees you for who you are, and honors your needs and boundaries. No one has the right to diminish your worth or treat you as if you are lesser. Never settle for anything less than respect. Because without respect, there is no real love. Closely linked to respect is the issue of red flags, those early warning signs that something in the relationship is unhealthy. Ignoring red flags can be one of the most dangerous choices you make because it often sets the stage for deeper emotional, mental, and even physical harm. Red flags are not small, harmless quirks that can be brushed aside. They are signals that something is wrong, and if they are left unaddressed, the problems they point to almost always grow worse over time. Red flags can appear in many forms. They might show up as patterns of lying, manipulation, jealousy, possessiveness, or controlling behavior. They can also be seen when a person's words and actions do not match, when they promise one thing but consistently do another. If you feel uneasy about the way someone speaks to you, how they handle conflict, how they react when you express your needs, or how they treat others, those feelings are not random. If you find yourself constantly making excuses for them, brushing off your discomfort, or rationalizing behavior that you know is wrong, you are likely staring directly at a red flag. One of the biggest mistakes people make is believing that these warning signs will simply disappear with time, patience, or love. You may tell yourself that it is just a phase, that stress is to blame, or that once they fully understand how much you care, they will change. But meaningful, lasting change does not come from your hope alone. It requires the other person to acknowledge their behavior, take responsibility, and actively work to improve. Words without consistent action mean very little. When someone repeatedly disregards your boundaries, dismisses your concerns, or continues in patterns that hurt you, they are showing you who they are, no matter what they claim. Women in particular often have a powerful intuition, a deep internal knowing when something is not right. But because of fear, conditioning, or the desire to be loved, many learn to silence that inner voice. You may worry about being too sensitive, too demanding, or too difficult. So you push down your concerns and tell yourself you are overreacting. Yet your intuition is there for a reason. It is a form of protection. If something feels off, it usually is. Those quiet alarms inside you are not suggestions, they are warnings. When you ignore red flags, you are not only putting yourself at risk, you are also teaching the other person how to treat you. Every time harmful behavior goes unchallenged, a new standard is set. This is acceptable, this is tolerated, this is what I can get away with. Over time, those small behaviors can escalate into patterns of toxicity that are far harder to break free from. This is not what love looks like. Love does not thrive in secrecy, manipulation, fear, or disrespect. Love thrives where both partners are honest, respectful, and mindful of each other's boundaries and well-being. It is easy to become swept up in the emotions and hopes of a relationship, but you must always protect your heart, mind, and spirit first. Paying attention to red flags early on can save you from deep heartbreak, prolonged stress, and potentially dangerous situations. Trust yourself enough to walk away when something does not feel right, even if you cannot fully explain it yet. When you respect yourself enough not to ignore the warning signs, you create space in your life for healthier, more fulfilling relationships, connections that honor who you are and support the peace you deserve. Peace is one of the most valuable assets you can possess, and it should never be compromised, especially not in the name of love. In relationships, it is easy to be swept into the belief that love requires endless sacrifice, constant self-denial, and enduring emotional turmoil just to keep things together. You may find yourself putting your partner's needs so far above your own that your mental and emotional stability becomes an afterthought. But true love was never meant to come at the cost of your inner peace. If the love you are experiencing consistently creates confusion, anxiety, or emotional chaos, it is not the kind of love that nurtures your soul. When you begin to sacrifice your peace for someone else, you slowly lose sight of yourself. You allow the storms within the relationship to spill over into every part of your life. Your mind is restless, your heart is unsettled, and the calm you once had feels out of reach. You trade your sense of stability for brief moments of affection or reassurance, hoping that those fleeting highs will make all the lows worthwhile. But over time, this imbalance will drain you. The constant emotional strain will leave you feeling exhausted, depleted, and disconnected from who you truly are. The love you thought would fill you instead becomes something that empties you. Peace is not merely the absence of arguments or loud conflicts. It is a deep, steady sense of inner stability and contentment. It is the quiet confidence of knowing you are safe, respected, and valued. It allows you to breathe, to think clearly, and to move through life with a grounded spirit. If someone's behavior repeatedly disturbs that peace through manipulation, disrespect, dishonesty, volatility, or inconsistency, then the relationship is not healthy, regardless of the intensity of the emotions involved. Love should not feel like walking on eggshells. It should not require you to live in a constant state of stress or fear about what will happen next. The idea that you must sacrifice your peace to prove your love often comes from fear. Fear of being alone, fear of losing the relationship, or fear that you will not find anything better. This fear convinces you to endure situations that damage your well-being. You tell yourself that if you just give more, tolerate more, or hold on longer, things will improve. But any love that demands the destruction of your peace is not a love built on respect. Your emotional and mental health are far too precious to be gambled away in the hope that someone might change. Genuine love nurtures peace. It creates a space where you can be your full, authentic self without constant anxiety. It fosters understanding rather than confusion, clarity rather than mixed signals, support rather than sabotage. In a truly loving relationship, both partners feel safe enough to express their needs and vulnerabilities without fear of being mocked, attacked, or abandoned. There is room for growth, for mistakes, and for learning, but never at the cost of your basic emotional safety. Choosing peace means choosing yourself. It means declaring that your well-being is non-negotiable. It involves setting firm boundaries, even if they are uncomfortable. Sometimes it means walking away from relationships that are unstable, manipulative, or emotionally abusive, no matter how much history or attachment exists. This is not an act of selfishness, it is an act of self-preservation and self-respect. Protecting your peace does not require you to reject love. It requires you to reject anything that masquerades as love while destroying your inner stability. When you honor your peace, you create space in your life for a healthier form of love, one that is calm, steady, and supportive. You open the door to relationships that do not demand you abandon yourself, but instead encourage you to be more fully who you are. Peace and love are not enemies. In their healthiest form, they walk hand in hand. You deserve a relationship that feels like a safe place, not a battlefield. Just as your peace must be protected, so must your future. Your future is one of the most important aspects of your life, and no one else should have the power to dictate or control it. Yet many people allow their partners, families, or societal expectations to steer their choices, shaping their lives according to someone else's desires rather than their own. When you let someone else design your future, you hand over your power. You quiet your own dreams to fulfill theirs, and in doing so, you risk living a life that never truly feels like your own. Every person is born with unique gifts, passions, and a specific purpose. You are no exception. It is your responsibility to discover, cultivate, and honor those gifts. When you allow another person to take control of your path, to tell you what you should do, who you should be, how to aspire to, you sacrifice your potential and your authenticity. You may find yourself following a career, lifestyle, or relationship path that looks acceptable on the outside but feels empty on the inside. The discomfort comes from the fact that you are out of alignment with your own values and desires. Others may have opinions, advice, or even strong expectations for your life. Some of these people may genuinely care about you, but care does not give them the right to control your destiny. The fear of disappointing others, especially those you love, can be powerful. You might feel pressure to conform to what they consider right or successful. But at the end of the day, no one else will live with the consequences of your choices as intimately as you will. You are the one who has to wake up every morning and face the life you have built. When you allow someone, even a partner, to decide your future, you risk waking up in a life you do not recognize. This can lead to resentment, regret, and a deep sense of unfulfillment. Life is too precious to be lived as a performance for other people's approval. Your purpose, your vision, and your direction belong to you. It is not selfish to protect them. It is necessary if you want to live a life that is honest and meaningful. Choosing your own path may mean going against the grain. It might mean making decisions others do not understand or support. You may have to endure criticism, doubts, or attempts to guilt you back into conformity. But courage is required to live truly. When you honor your inner calling, you eventually attract the people and opportunities that resonate with your true self. You begin to build a future that excites you, that challenges you in healthy ways, and that reflects the person you were created to be. You are the architect of your destiny. You have the power to decide what kind of life you will build, what kind of work you will do, where you will invest your time, and how you will express your gifts. Do not surrender that power in exchange for temporary approval or the illusion of security. Hold the pen to your own story. Listen to wise counsel, but always return to your own inner compass when making decisions about your life. Your future is in your hands. Closely connected to your future is your purpose. Your purpose is the underlying reason behind your actions, your drive, and your dreams. It gives shape and meaning to your life. In the rush of daily responsibilities, social expectations, and relationship demands, it is easy to lose sight of that purpose. You can become so busy responding to what others need from you that you forget to ask what you need from yourself. But when you drift away from your purpose, you also drift away from a deep sense of fulfillment. Being connected to your purpose brings clarity. It guides your choices and helps you recognize which opportunities align with your calling and which do not. It acts like a compass, helping you stay oriented when life becomes confusing or difficult. When you remember why you are here, what lights you up, what kind of impact you want to make, you find strength to keep going even when the path is hard. Without that connection, you may find yourself moving aimlessly from one thing to another, always busy but rarely satisfied. Relationships, while beautiful and meaningful, should not take the place of your purpose. A partner can walk beside you, support you, and inspire you, but they cannot become your entire reason for being. When you allow a relationship to replace your deeper calling, you shrink your world to fit within someone else's. Over time, you may start to feel restless, as if something essential is missing, even if your relationship appears fine on the surface. That something is the expression of your purpose, your gifts, passions, and contributions that go beyond your role as a partner. Staying aligned with your purpose requires intentional choices. It means carving out time to nurture your talents, pursue your goals, and reflect on what truly matters to you. It may require you to say no to things that pull you off course, even if they are appealing or comfortable. It may also challenge you to outgrow environments and relationships that do not support your growth. This is not a rejection of love. It is a commitment to live fully, so that the love you give and receive flows from a place of wholeness rather than emptiness. A strong relationship does not demand that you abandon your purpose. It respects and even celebrates it. The right partner will recognize the fire within you and encourage it, not extinguish it. They will understand that when you are living in alignment with your calling, you show up as a more vibrant, fulfilled, and loving partner. Do not dim your vision for your life in order to fit into someone else's comfort zone. Your purpose is not an accessory, it is the core of who you are. Another crucial principle is to avoid unhealthy dependency. Dependency often develops quietly over time. It can happen when one person becomes the other's primary source of emotional stability, validation, or even financial survival. At first, it may look like deep closeness or intense loyalty, but when one person cannot function emotionally or practically without the other, the relationship dynamics become unbalanced and unhealthy. In an unhealthy dependency, the dependent person may feel that their happiness, worth, and security are entirely tied to their partner. They live in constant fear of being abandoned or rejected. Their sense of identity begins to dissolve, replaced by an obsession with keeping the relationship intact at any cost. They may sacrifice their boundaries, neglect their own needs, and silence their true feelings just to avoid conflict or displeasing the other person. Meanwhile, the partner may start to feel burdened, trapped, or overwhelmed by the responsibility of carrying someone else's emotional life. This dynamic harms both people. The dependent partner loses the chance to develop resilience, self-reliance, and a strong sense of self. The other partner is deprived of being with a whole, autonomous individual and instead becomes a caretaker or savior. Over time, resentment, frustration, and emotional exhaustion can build on both sides. This does not mean that a relationship should be devoid of support or care. Healthy relationships absolutely involve mutual support, vulnerability, and interdependence. But there is a difference between interdependence and dependency. Healthy interdependence exists when two whole, self-sufficient people choose to share their lives, support one another, and grow together while still maintaining their individuality and emotional independence. They lean on each other, but are not collapsed into each other. Each person has their own sources of joy, their own goals, and their own sense of self-worth that does not disappear if the other person is not present in every moment. To avoid unhealthy dependency, you must cultivate your own emotional strength and independence. This means learning to soothe yourself, to process your emotions, and to find healthy outlets for your stress and pain without always relying on someone else to rescue you. It means building a life that includes friendships, passions, and activities that fulfill you outside the romantic relationship. It means recognizing your intrinsic worth so that you are not constantly seeking validation and reassurance from someone else just to feel okay. No one else can complete you or carry the full weight of your emotional world. That responsibility is yours. When you stand in your own strength, you do not fall apart if someone pulls away, has a bad day, or fails to meet every need. You are capable of supporting yourself, asking for help when appropriate, and giving support in return without losing yourself in the process. This creates space for a relationship that is balanced, respectful, and genuinely loving. True love is not about two broken halves trying to merge into one whole. It is about two whole individuals choosing to walk together, complementing each other's lives rather than replacing them. When you nurture your own inner life, your confidence, your spiritual and emotional health, your goals, you bring a richer, more stable self into your relationships. You are better able to give love freely, free from desperation and fear. In every season of life, remember that your worth, your peace, and your future are ultimately in your own hands. Do not allow anyone, no matter how close, to define you, diminish you, or dictate the course of your life. You are the one who must live with your choices, and you are the one who will reap the harvest of the seeds you plant today. Embrace your purpose and treat it as sacred. Guard your peace as if your life depends on it, because in many ways it does. Stand firm in your values, your boundaries, and your vision for your life. Do not sacrifice your joy, your identity, or your dreams to meet someone else's expectations or to hold on to a love that is costing you too much. Real love does not demand that you disappear. It invites you to grow, to flourish, and to become more fully yourself. Healthy love is not about losing yourself in another person. It is about evolving together while staying deeply rooted in your own authenticity. Keep your boundaries strong. Honor your journey even when others do not understand it. Trust the wisdom within you that knows when something is wrong, when you are settling, or when your spirit is being suffocated. You deserve a life that reflects your strength, your dreams, and your peace. Your future is not a distant possibility. It is being shaped right now by the choices you make, whom you allow into your life, what you tolerate, what you pursue, and what you walk away from. Be bold in your decisions. Be unapologetically yourself. Do not dim your light to make others more comfortable. Build a life that reflects the greatness, resilience, and dignity within you. You are worthy of love that respects you, a life that fulfills you, and a peace that cannot be shaken.